Microsoft stock is up 4% in the after hours after having better than expected earnings, especially in their cloud division. This could pave the way for a big upside move with AMC stock coming later in the month when they report earnings, guys. So we still do have some hurdles ahead, but this is a very positive development, and it looks like this bull market is continuing, guys. And I am starting to call this a bull market because that's what it's looking like, guys. So we have a lot to talk about in regards to AMC. Give you guys some things that I'm looking forward to, especially with AMC earnings, especially as we are getting big tech stocks that are reporting earnings. It's literally going to pave the way for the market to be able to reward AMC, and we'll talk about that more in this video, guys. So let's get straight into it. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Let's say that first things first. So as far as Microsoft earnings, that was the big dog that was reporting here today, Tuesday and after hours. Wednesday and after hours, you are going to have Tesla. That is going to be the next important company, as well as many other companies, but these two are the most important ones for this week. A lot of people are looking at Intel as well, especially with the chip sector. And if those earnings are anything like Microsoft, boy, do we got a lot of room to run to the upside, because the whole reason why the markets have been so fearful in such a depressed state was because we're scared about earnings slowing down. Well, Microsoft could be a bellwether here, the first signal that technology earnings are not slowing down, but indeed ramping up higher. So how does this help out AMC, especially heading into AMC earnings? Well, long story short, with AMC earnings, the only thing people care about is free cash flow or net income. Net income is what literally goes to the bank account for AMC, what the total net profits are, and your free cash flow is, are you able to support the business? Do you have to raise capital? Are you burning through money? That is very important, because throughout 2022, companies that were burning money were not rewarded, even if they beat on earnings. Now, if you were even slightly positive as far as net income or EPS or just any other metric, free cash flow, you were rewarded very nicely for those earnings beats. And if you missed earnings, you were probably not rewarded in many cases. Nonetheless, AMC was not in that boat, but it's highly expected that we are going to be in that boat this time around, that AMC will at the very least have free cash flow numbers, or they will have just a net profit. So that's very exciting, as long as earnings hold up and the markets don't pretty much crash heading into the end of February. That's gonna really put AMC in a good spot, or at least put the markets in a good spot to reward AMC earnings. If these other earnings were bad and the markets were crashing, well, even if AMC did have a profit or free cash flows, I still think the stock would rally, but maybe not to the same extent as it otherwise would have. So hopefully that makes some sense. Microsoft earnings are definitely a good development here on the day, and let's go ahead and break down some of the numbers. So it says Microsoft beats on earnings as cloud unit shows strong growth. Microsoft Azure cloud growth slowed to 31%, barely beating analyst projections. The software maker took a $1.2 billion charge in the quarter, connected with its decision to eliminate 10,000 employees, revise its hardware lineup, and consolidate leases. So you are definitely seeing some of those layoff, those severance packages eating into the profits to some degree. But what is interesting here is the revenue numbers. So the revenue was $52.75 billion versus $52.94 billion as expected by analysts. So a slight miss there, but the actual earnings, the net profit, was $2.32 per share versus $2.29 per share as expected. So with less revenue, they made more earnings than expectations. That means the margins are improving. And that's very interesting, because if the margins are improving, especially in 2023, that's huge. And that really comes down to the PE ratios. If margins are improving, PE ratios don't look too bad where they currently are, even though stocks like Apple, stocks like Microsoft that have held up very well are not quite cheap. very far from cheap. They're very expensive, and that's where a lot of the fear comes down to. If Microsoft were to botch earnings, the valuation is way too high. Same thing with Apple. Same thing with basically all of large mega cap tech. So this is definitely a good thing. It's probably going to cause this continuation in the markets coming tomorrow, depending on what we get for guidance. That's really the wild card here, because we haven't heard anything from Microsoft guidance, and that might come on the earnings call. It might not come at all, but if guidance is not good, that's what markets are probably going to care about most. Do they see things slowing down more, or potentially even picking up? Microsoft does have a stickier business model, so I do think the rest of this week is kind of in the bag, at least until you get to the economic data that will be coming out Thursday and Friday. And let's go ahead and run through that briefly for you guys if you don't know exactly what I am talking about. So Thursday, you have durable goods orders month over month for December. And then at 8:30 in the morning as well, you have GDP growth rate quarter over quarter advanced estimates for Q4. And then you have initial jobless claims for January 21st. Now on Friday, you're going to get core PC price index month over month for December, personal income month over month for December, and personal spending month over month for December as well. All of this data Thursday and Friday coming out at 8:30 in the morning. So this data is going to be obviously very important, and the earnings next week are going to be very important as well. That will set us up for potentially a bullish earnings report with AMC stock later in the month, guys. So there is that information. Let's dive into AMC more specifically and what the numbers actually look like here on the day. And from what we could see so far, the live short interest of free float sitting at 21.95%. The amount of shares currently sold short sits at 113 million, up 214,000 shares here today that were essentially sold short. The live short interest of free float is up about 0.2% on the day as well. Cost to borrow rates remain stupid high. Let's just call it that, stupid high. They're staying at these elevated levels. Cost to borrow average of 273%, cost to borrow max of 380%, and cost to borrow minimum at 1%. Now, Interactive Broker short availability has the cost to borrow rate at 97.31%. So very high. Even on Interactive Brokers, it's 97%. So you got to kind of disregard the cost to borrow minimum number that you see down here at 1%. So there is that. As far as the option activity, 90 orders totaling about $12 million, positive order value of 5%. So not a super positive day. It's been better than those days of 0% positive order value or 3% positive order value, though. So it could be a little bit worse, but by and large, people are not really going out, or hedge funds, I should say, are not really going out and buying a whole bunch of options, especially to the downside. Like the actual dollar amounts here have been pretty low, and that's probably for all the reasons that we are talking about in this video. As far as the Stocko tracker data, you have about 35,000 calls that are in the money. Out of the money calls sits at 114,000, puts that are in the money at 15,500, puts that are out of the money at about 70,000. So a decent amount of option activity. If you do continue to see good earnings and a rally for the rest of the week, it can definitely play a role in helping to get AMC above. Maybe it's $6, that next key level, but that's not my base case for this week. As far as AMC here today, very, very positive, guys. The fact that you are staying above this line right here, this is the line we've talked about in many videos now. It's the level that we were at before the June rally. So split adjusted, all of that. You're at the same price with AMC as you've seen before the June rally. So to say a rally like June of 2021 is impossible from here, that is very naive, and I definitely think that is false in all regards. Now, the next major level we have to break out above is this line right here. By the time we get to it, it's probably going to be around 650. Give it a couple days or maybe even a week or two before we test that level. Again, you got to get through Apple, Google, and Amazon earnings. Then it's going to be kind kind of a done deal as far as the earnings picture for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And those earnings are going to come next week. So you're going to get more of that information by the end of next week. You're going to be in a full-blown bull market. And you got to start to call this a bull market. You're breaking out above the key downtrending line. And these earnings for Microsoft might just solidify that. And you're no longer in a downtrend. You are in an uptrend. You are starting a new bull market, guys. At least that's what it looks like from my perspective. From the technicals, like I said, we still have to get through the rest of earnings season. Now, as far as AMC and what I want to see heading into AMC's earnings, you just want to stay above this line. In my personal opinion, that is it. I think earnings could take us above the trend line, could put AMC into its own bull market, change the downtrend to a positive uptrend. And if you get free cash flow, if you get profits, that's going to be huge. And I would not bet against a short squeeze or the MOAS, whatever you would like to call it, if that does happen on earnings, guys. So that is going to be it for this video. Not too much else to really say. It was a slow day as far as news. There wasn't any economic developments. Literally, like, nothing happened today. The volume was really low in anticipation of Microsoft earnings, and boom, baby, we got it. And Microsoft is up 4.30% here in after hours. Not a huge move, but good enough to keep the stock from falling. So that is it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.